Listen, most people think strength is loud. They think the strongest person is the one who wins every argument, the one who gets the last word, the one who makes sure everyone knows they were wrong. No. The strongest person in the room usually says the least. Because real power doesn't chase attention. It doesn't beg for understanding. It doesn't perform. It simply exists. You know what changes a person? Not betrayal, not rejection, not disrespect. It's surviving all of it and realizing you don't have to become like the people who hurt you. There comes a day when you stop explaining yourself, not because you stopped caring, but because you finally understood something. People only hear what they're prepared to hear. If someone has already decided who you are, no speech will change their mind, so save your breath. Remember all those nights? The ones where you replayed every conversation, wondering if you could have chosen different words, been more patient, more understanding, more forgiving. You carried guilt that never belonged to you. While they slept peacefully, you were fighting battles inside your own head. And for what? To convince people to value something they had already chosen to ignore? No, that's not strength. That's self-abandonment. Here's the lesson nobody teaches. Being calm is different from being cold. Being disciplined is different from being numb. You don't have to stop feeling. You simply stop allowing every feeling to control your next decision. There's a difference, a huge difference. When someone disrespects you, your first instinct is to react, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong, to make them understand. But watch the people who truly command respect. They don't rush, they don't explode, they observe. Because emotion fades, consequences don't. Silence isn't always surrender. Sometimes it's strategy. Sometimes it's wisdom. Sometimes it's simply recognizing that not every battle deserves your energy. Imagine carrying a bucket of water through a desert. Every argument, every unnecessary explanation, every person who refuses to understand you cuts a hole in that bucket. Eventually, there's nothing left. So stop pouring yourself into people determined to remain empty. Protect your water. One day, you'll notice something strange. The people who underestimated you will suddenly become curious. Not because you've changed, because you stopped chasing, because your attention became rare, because your peace became visible. And peace is impossible to fake. The strongest people aren't emotionless. They're emotionally trained. They still feel disappointment. They still feel sadness. They still feel heartbreak. They simply refuse to let those emotions become the architect of their future. Think about a mountain. Storm after storm, wind after wind, season after season. It doesn't argue with the weather. It remains. Become like that. Not because life is easy, because your foundation is stronger than the storm. People often mistake kindness for weakness until kindness disappears. Then they discover its value. Don't become cruel because someone else was. Don't become bitter because life disappointed you. Become selective. There's wisdom in that. You don't need revenge. Success speaks. Growth speaks. Peace speaks. Discipline speaks. And silence, when chosen wisely, can say more than anger ever could. Maybe today you're exhausted. Maybe you're carrying memories no one else knows about. Maybe you're smiling in public while rebuilding yourself in private. Keep rebuilding, brick by brick, habit by habit, morning by morning. Nobody applauds the foundation. They only admire the finished building. The world respects consistency, not promises. So let your actions become your introduction. Walk differently, think differently, protect your time, protect your energy, protect your peace. Not because you're better than anyone, because you finally learned its value. One day, someone will ask how you stayed calm through everything. Smile. You don't owe them the whole story. The scars already know it. Be steady, not hard. Be disciplined, not empty. Be calm, not defeated. Because the strongest souls aren't the ones who never feel. They're the ones who feel everything and still choose wisdom over impulse. Walk forward, quietly, purposefully, and let your life become the answer that words never could. Now go. The next chapter is waiting.